Hello, my name is Silas, and I'm here with a brief rundown of my demonstration of a CTF challenge based off of this CVE. So this CVE relies on the exploit that was available in older versions of libSSH between 7.6 and 8.4, I believe. We're crafting a packet with the user auth success byte could allow you into a machine without any additional authentication. So this challenge relies on primarily figuring out that this is the exploit that was used. So I have a description here. We'll go purely based off this description. So someone got into my machine via port 22. So at first glance, this definitely indicates that it might be using SSH, as 22 is a reserved port for SSH. It looks like they didn't even know my credentials. So that hints specifically at the fact that you don't need to try and brute force this. There is no like login, nothing of the sort. Anyways, they made a file with an odd name, but it's gone now. I wonder if there's still some trace of the file name. It might be something symbolic of the attacker. Can you figure out how they got in and help me find the file name? So the first two lines are hinting at how to access it. So via SSH and with no credentials. If you look around quickly, there is quite a good chance that you'll find this specific CVE, as it's one of the more major issues with SSH that have been found where you can access a machine without authenticating. And then the latter sentence talks about how the flag is hidden on the machine. So it specifies symbolic here, which might be a good hint. And it also talks about a specific file name. So the goal of this was to hint towards the file name being hidden in a symbolic link where it is the target of a symbolic link, but the file no longer exists. So what someone might do, so I have the Docker image running here, which contains the flag on it. It's not accessible directly, because if you contact the port, you won't really get anything unless you know what the exploit is. So I've written a Python script here, which uses paramiko to craft a packet with the user auth success. And then it will send that via a socket to the specified port, in this case, I will be using port 1337. So let me bring up the right here. And then I can specify where I want it to be. So I'm hosting this on localhost and port 1337. And paramiko will craft this message, and then I send it and try and execute a command after I've authenticated. Well, authenticated using this exploit by just sending a user authentication success message. If that's successful, I'll execute the command, which I specify here. And then I will read the output from that command and then close the connection. So as an example, first thing I might do is ls. What happens if I do ls? Well, it looks like we're in the root of the system. I don't see anything obvious, but we know from the hints that it's a hidden thing, probably a link. So one thing that might be useful is we could do find, we'll just go from root and type link. So that's a little bit too much to search through. But also, we don't actually get information about what the link points to. So it might be useful to tell it to execute a stat on each one of those. The problem is that's also a lot of output. So one thing that might be nice is we could trim it down, maybe only receive the lines which actually contain a file name. That's still a lot to look through. So one thing that you might do is if we know that we're in a CTF, typically flags will have a specific format. So we could grab things that contain file, and then they contain something after them which includes CTF, for example. Oh, and right here's our flag. So that's just a demonstration of one possible way of solving this. and then you can enter this flag and you've completed the challenge.